It hasn't even been 10 years since this narrative emerged about toxic fandoms in pop culture. The clear demonization of vocal segments of fan bases who present a negative point of view on the current direction of their favorite franchises. And we saw this in the media with the reaction to all manner of films and TV shows in recent years. And I'm left asking, why are they doing this? Why have they been doing this? It's a complicated answer with several components. The first one we've discussed before, and it's been discussed numerous times in other forums. There's the ESG stuff, the DEI stuff, which big business and corporate interests and Hollywood have been invested in. They've been pushing their agendas for some time. As a result, even tepid criticism of it is met with a disproportionately vicious reaction. One that's left a lot of fans confused and I think quite hurt. Now, filmmakers and writers pushing back against audience criticism is nothing new. It's probably always been there to one degree or another. Criticism is hard to hear, and creative people are often very protective of their work and take negative reviews to heart. They're sensitive souls, obviously. They can take it personally. So pushback against fandoms to a degree has always kind of been there, but nothing like to the extent we've seen in recent years. Moreover, it's only gotten worse since the emergence of woke around 9 years ago or so. There's something profoundly narcissistic about refusing to take on board criticism and then labeling it as hate or some kind of bigotry, for example, and then having the media run defense for a garbage TV show or film that pushes the message can help to insulate the filmmaker or writer from real, genuine criticism, even constructive criticism. This is like living in an echo chamber. The labeling is just deflection, and I think a lot of them know that, but there is this ivory tower effect, this kind of snobbery that kicks in, an elitism, you might say, when these writers and filmmakers don't have to really engage in good faith with their fan criticisms. Their egos are protected by this knee-jerk defense, a mechanism for hand-waving away such criticisms as hate, toxic, etc. Ironically, these people complain about privilege quite a lot, don't they? But they are, in fact, the ones who have obtained a very privileged position. They can produce profoundly underwhelming TV shows and films. They can write ideologically driven stories that polarize people. They can put quality second and agenda first. They can push deeply divisive identity politics, all the while being safe in the knowledge that their sorry excuse for art is going to be shielded somewhat from criticism because of the media spin that will misrepresent some fan reactions. It's all ultimately feedback when you get right down to it. Not all reviews are going to be pleasant, but data is data. If these people were serious about producing works that were meant to please audiences, they would want to curate as much information, as much useful information as they could from audience reviews, the good, the bad, and indeed the ugly, including the things they don't want to hear. The aim should be to give audiences what they want, what they are willing to pay for, both in terms of streaming services for TV shows and also at the box office in the cinema. But there has been this detachment from what makes money and what's being produced in recent years. That's why we've seen these deeply unpopular woke movies get obliterated at the box office time and time again. But at this stage, it's also predictable. You're left wondering, but I could have told you that was going to happen. Why did the studio even give that project the green light in the first place? How did that get made? Why did they ever think that was a good idea? No one was going to like that. The fact that these woke types have been able to hide behind the blaming of fans for their toxicity means they never have to learn anything. They never have to take responsibility for their own actions, for their own failings. If some woke TV show with super low ratings gets cancelled because it's reviled by fans, They can hide behind the smug attitude of, well, it was ahead of its time. Most people just didn't get it because they're too lowbrow. They aren't discerning and sophisticated enough to understand what I was trying to achieve. It went over their heads. Only smart people really understood it. They can play the tortured creative genius card and live in a fantasy world. I mean, how do you even define what toxicity is? It's entirely subjective. They never have to develop and grow as an artist. They never have to face the kind of adversity that builds character and makes them a better artist. They can remain deeply ideologically entrenched in their worldview without ever having to change or grow. This is a recipe for not just narcissism and egomania, but arrested development, personally, spiritually, professionally, and creatively. This is without doubt the worst environment for art to exist within. As I've mentioned before, what you're more likely to get in this situation is content, stuff, meaningless material designed to fulfill studio production requirements, an industrial and soulless corporate project. Ultimately, the sanctimoniousness, the smearing of fans, this is a truly incredible time to live through because it flies in the face of conventional logic and what we've always believed, that the customer is always right? Or at least most of the time, to some degree anyway. Audiences know what they want, and they know what they don't want. So why continue to give them what they don't want? It's pretty simple. Hollywood has known for years what works. The formula for the ideal sci-fi movie, action movie, fantasy movie, romance movie. They know what works. So why change it all of a sudden? If something was profitable before, just keep doing that thing. There should be at least an attempt to meet the customer demand that's there. It's not hard to identify what works and what's popular and why it's popular and why people like something. So, again, it's about trying to meet that consumer demand and give people what they want. That's at least what it should be about. It's never been about telling people what they should want, what they should like, and then insulting them when they refuse to accept the slop that's given to them. But I suspect this trend will continue until such time as the DEI stuff finally ends in Hollywood. Crazy times to be alive. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.